Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at a gimbal. Now, I haven't reviewed gimbals in the past. I've never got on with them. I always found them cumbersome. They would never go where I want them to do. So I would point the camera in one direction and the gimbal would make it go in the other direction. I found balancing them was an absolute nightmare. I just did not get on with them. I've got several down there actually that I've just discarded because I can go on with them. I found mounting the cameras was a right fiddle, but after reviewing the Zhiyun G200S light, which I've got up there, it's my main key light I'm using. I'm running it at about 6%. It's a 200 watt light. I'm running at about 5 or 6%, controlling it via my iPhone. So I've downloaded the app for it, controlling it via my iPhone, and that's working beautiful. So my thought was, if that light's really good, which it is, because obviously I'm using it, then maybe Zhiyun have got the gimbal side of it right, because they've got a really good reputation for producing really good and manufacturing really good gimbals. So I looked online and I went to Wex Photographic, and lo and behold, they had some there at a really good price. So I bought the Crane M2S and I really do enjoy it. And it is actually an absolute doddle to balance. Once you get used to, how you set it up, it's an absolute doddle. And they made it a doddle because there's actually locking nuts on this gimbal. So you can lock it off. You can see there, that's completely locked off. It ain't gonna move around, ain't gonna do anything. So when you're transporting it, it's an absolute doddle, and you just shove it in your bag, take it out. And also their quick release system plate, I think is brilliant. I used my Sony A7C for doing a vlogging test. I went out in the garden and done a vlogging test using my Sony A7C. And here's my A7C, and this is not a terribly heavy combination, but it's quite heavy. I will put a weight in the video as to how heavy this is. I use the Viltrox FE 20mm lens, f2.8 20mm lens, because I wanted to get a wider angle of view. I did do a vlogging clip using my Sony ZV-E10, which I'll show you here, but it was a little bit too tight. So you didn't really get a good look at how good the gimbal is because the shot was too tight. So I went out with the A7C and put my wide angle lens on, and I used the 20mm lens. It's a nice lightweight lens. So I put that on. Now it comes with a quick release plate. This is the plate that it comes with. Move that out of the way. So it comes with this really handy little quick release plate. I've actually got another one mounted to it, so I've mounted my quick release plate to the A7C, and I've got it in a position where it balances nice and easily. Now, if you leave a plate on the camera, then you don't have to keep rebalancing the gimbal every time you use it, simply because you can lock it off. So everything's locked off. So when you mount it back on again, it'll be balanced correctly, which I think is really nifty. That was an issue I had with other gimbals. You had to keep rebalancing the thing. You don't have to with this one. Now, there has been a few criticisms online regarding this plate. It's funny, isn't it? People are criticising the gimbal based on just a quick release plate. But what they're saying is it is a proprietary one and it hasn't got an Arca Swiss fitting, so you can't fit it on a tripod. So you can't take it off the gimbal and put it on a tripod, which is a fair comment until you realise that you can, because it's straightforward to do. Because this locks, as you can see, it's all locked. Once the camera is on it, so to mount the camera, you simply, there's a little V-mount fitting on the plate here, a little V-mount there, and then all you do is slide the camera into that. You have to unlock it first. If you unlock this little lever here, do that, and then the camera will mount straight onto it. That just slides straight into there, like so, and it's a firm lock. And this here needs a double push to get it out, so it won't fall. The camera will never fall out. So that's now in there, that's locked in. That is brilliant. So you can take that out with you. That's locked in. Obviously I've got it all locked. All the accesses are all locked. So with this quick release plate, yeah, you can't take the camera off and put onto a tripod without taking this plate off, which means you'd have to rebalance it when you put it on. But what's to stop you leaving the camera on the gimbal, because you can lock all the axes off, and just mount that on the tripod. It's got a tripod bush at the bottom here, because it comes with this little mini tripod. So you can just screw in, or you can just screw in an Arca Swiss plate on the bottom of that and put the whole gimbal on the tripod. That's even easier anyway, because if you do need to quickly do any quick shots, you've got it on the tripod, you're doing, could be an interview, or you're doing some sort of presentation, you could be doing anything mounted on the tripod. Just take the whole gimbal off, unlock the axes, and you're ready to go. So I don't see that as an issue, the fact that it hasn't got an Arca Swiss quick release plate. You can do it that way round, and it works beautiful, no problem with that whatsoever. So that's that out of the way. Build quality, I think, is excellent. For the price you pay for this gimbal, the build quality is superb. I've got no complaints with the build quality whatsoever. Nice and compact, nice and lightweight. It's got the trigger on the front, so that does various functions. 2 clicks and it resets the gimbal back to the normal position. 3 clicks and it spins it round into selfie mode. So that works absolutely fine. And there's other modes that the gimbal has. So you've got a go mode, vortex, portrait mode, follow mode, various modes to create different effects depending on what you want to do with the gimbal. So very flexible as far as that is concerned. It does have a light. It's got a little built-in light there. I'm going to turn all this on in a minute and show you. I'm just going through what it has. It has a built-in light there, so that's great for for filling in. It's not an incredibly powerful light, but it's powerful enough as a fill-in light. Certainly if you're the person, or if you're doing vlogging and you're in the shade, turn the light on and you're away to go. It does come with a series of gels, filters, whatever you want to call them, magnetic filters that you can put on the light. And I think that's clever. So they're magnetic mount, so you just click on like so. And it's got various colours. You've got your tungsten balance, daylight balance, you've got blue, red, orange, depending on what effects you want to create, or if you do want to balance the light output for the light, you want to balance it to what, the situation you're in, then you can do that as well. So that's quite nifty. And so all of this is within a price range that I think is affordable if you need to get a gimbal. Now the payload is actually quite high. Now again, people criticise that it won't take a Sony, they keep saying the Sony A7 III or the A7 IV with a long lens. I don't know why you would want to put a big lens on a gimbal anyway, because from what I've seen and what I would use a gimbal for, you'd be using wide to at the most a 50mm. You wouldn't be using a telephoto lens on a gimbal. I really don't think you would. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments about that, but I don't think you would. It is a compact gimbal for compact cameras, basically. I will probably use it with my ZV-E10, or I'll use it with my Sony A7C. I've actually tried it with my Panasonic G100 and it works fine with a G100, because that's a really compact micro four thirds camera. So what we'll do now is just turn it all on. Now it has these little locking nuts. It's got one there, and it's got another locking nut on the side here. Where are we? On that side it is. Another locking nut on the side there, and a locking nut on the, well, it's not a nut, a locking switch on the front there, which controls the different axes. And that's how you balance it. So if you was balancing it from scratch, you would start with the this tilt axis there. So you'd balance that first, and that's pretty good. Maybe it's a little bit down, because I did balance it with the screen out, so you've got to take that into account. And with the screen out, that's pretty damn perfect. And then once you've got that one balanced, you basically unlock this one. So unlock that, and then that will balance that side. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You just unlock these levers here to balance it. And this isn't a tutorial on balancing, so I'm not going to go through the whole balancing process. But it don't take long at all. Once you've got the hang of it, it doesn't take long. And also, because you can lock each axis off, Zhiyun have made it nice and easy for balancing, because he'd lock the axes off. That's the problem I had with his other gimbals, but it would be, it'd go all over the place. You're trying to balance one axis, but it would be spinning or it would be doing something daft. I just gave up because it was absolutely hopeless. And then to do it finally, you just release this little locking nut, which is here on the front here, and now it's all unlocked, ready to turn on. So we turn it on by using this little switch here. This will turn it on. So you see the little display will come on. Now that's powered that on. And it's in FF mode or PF mode, which is basically the mode I will use pretty much all the time. But now that will give me a nice straight steady angle where I can move downwards. I can do a low angle shot. I can do that. I can do all sorts with it. It works really well. It's, you know, absolutely really nice gimbal to use. So that's working pretty well. I got it in PF mode, and you can see that that is just handling that really nicely. That's really good. So as I move around, the camera follows me, which is really good. Nice and smooth. You get a nice smooth action like that. And then if you treble click, so you click the trigger 3 times, that puts it into selfie mode, which is really good. Obviously the screen would be rotating towards you so you can actually see what you're doing. Yeah, and then 2 clicks just resets the camera, so it's back to where, you know, where it should be. Let's go back to 3 clicks. That'll now move that back, and that's working really well. So yeah, great gimbal for getting really steady shots. As I say, and I'll show you this clip where I went out in the garden and done a vlogging clip, and I had my Sony A7C on. So take a look at this clip. So I've set the gimbal up. I've got the A7C with the Viltrox 20mm lens on. Let's just walk down the garden path. I've balanced it. I've got the screen out so I can actually see myself. I think this is a great vlogging setup. I've got very bad arthritis in my hand, so I'm not holding it very steady. So that would give another good indication how good the gimbal is, as like, you know, keeping the camera nice and steady. And I can see the level gauge on the monitor looks totally level, so that's really good. And even if I move that like that, that's still holding that nice and level, which is really good. I'm actually quite vigorously moving the gimbal, and that's still holding that quite level. So we can go around here, go around the little curvy bend towards the pond, and you can still see that beautiful. It's really good. Over the bridge. So if you are walking and vlogging at the same time, this gimbal works out really well. And even if you're going around a bend, going all the way around, it's still locked onto my face, and that is really good. Of course, the face detector on the Sony A7C is pretty decent. The A7C Mark II is even better, but it's pretty decent on the original A7C. And it's nice that this gimbal will hold a full frame camera. It is a compact full frame camera. It's not like the A7R or the A7 III, the A7 IV. This is obviously the compact version, but it's still, swap hands over, but it's still holding that really well. And that's great for doing vlogging. I really like it as a vlogging setup. And it's a nice compact gimbal as well, so you can take it out with you without any problem at all. That's still holding really well. And if it does drift a little bit, you can just double click on the, I don't need to, look, that set itself up again. So yeah, it holds itself really well. And being that it's a 20mm lens on here, that's a nice wide angle lens for doing vlogging, because you can see the surroundings, and it's not too tight on my face like that. I can even hold it in closer if I wanted to, but it's not a heavy gimbal. It's a nice lightweight gimbal. I'll put the weight in the video so you know what the weight of a gimbal is. And combine that with the A7C, which is a nice, you know, pretty compact lightweight camera, and the Viltrox lens. It's a really nice vlogging setup. And I like it a lot. I mean, it's really good. And obviously you're going to get the quality of a full frame body, which is really good. And if I did use neutral density filters on the front, I could make sure I set it to its widest aperture, so you get that lovely depth between me and the background. I haven't done that, I've just put it on automatic for now. Yeah, a great vlogging setup, and I think that's working really well. You can even do, you know, turns like that. Now I'm turning all the way round quite rapidly, and that's still holding on to my face. Absolutely beautiful. That is excellent. That is a really, really good setup. I really like it. So let's now go back into the studio, and I'm going to have a look at this footage, see what it looks like, and we'll finish the review in the studio. So there you go, you can see how steady that was. Even when I spun around, it still followed me, and it was really, really cool. I really like it. And the fact, as I say, it isn't heavy, doesn't take up a lot of room in your camera bag. Nice gimbal. Oh, this light. So yeah, the switch for the light is on the side here, little red switch on the side here. Push that down, and that powers the light up, as you can see there. So to change the intensity of the light, if you flick it down, that lowers the intensity, and if you flick it up, that increases the intensity. And then, as I say, you can use these gels to change the colour balance of the light, and to turn it off, just hold it down, and that turns the light off completely. So yeah, very nifty, very, very cool. And you know, I really do like this gimbal. It's got a lot of features that I won't be using. There's a vortex mode, which is, you know, really handy if you want to create those sort of fancy effects. But yeah, and I'm actually getting used to this gimbal. I've only had it a few days. I've had it about 4 days, I think. 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and I'm just getting used to it, and I've got this far, and I think it's great. It has got a connection on the back here for connecting it to your camera, powering your camera. So it's got a USB-C port on the back here, and it does come with the cables to connect it to Panasonic, Sony cameras and what have you. It does come with a USB-C charging cable, which is nothing exciting. But it comes with a C to C lead and a C to micro, USB-C to micro USB lead, because different cameras have different fittings. So if I plugged this into, I'm not going to bother doing it now, but if I plug, not that one, into the ZV-E10 and the A7C, because they're both USB-C, plug that in beside there, that'll go into the back here. So you plug that into there, and then that the other lead will go into the camera. The other end of the lead will go into the camera, and then you can power the camera from the gimbal. So you only need to charge the gimbal up and power the camera from the gimbal. And secondly, you can start the trigger. As long as you set the camera up correctly, you can start and stop the trigger of the camera from the record button on the front of the gimbal here. So hit the record button there, and that'll hit record on the camera. That saves mucking around with the settings on the top of the camera. What I like is the build quality, the usability, and the flexibility of this particular gimbal, and I think I'm going to be using it quite a bit. Although I have also purchased the Zhiyun Crane M3, which we have here. This is a different beast altogether. I've not even set this one up yet. I only arrived yesterday afternoon, late yesterday afternoon. So there will be a review coming of the Crane M3, and I will be comparing it with the Crane M2S. I know this takes a higher payload, so be curious to see what I can fit on here. Although, to be fair, I probably will still be using my A7C. I don't see why, or my A6700. I think that would be a fantastic option. I'd love to try the A6700 with the Tamron 11-20 lens on it. I think that would be a fantastic option. I haven't got the camera around here. So there we go. That's a quick introduction to the Zhiyun Crane M2S, and I will be actually comparing it with the Crane M3 and my little Osmo Pocket 3. There we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. I would really, really appreciate that. It does help me grow the channel. So thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.